Most people still retype data in Excel because they don't know about flash fill. In this video, I'll show you how Excel can recognize patterns and automatically complete data for you in seconds without formulas or complex setup.
Hello again. Today's tip is all about using flash fill. If you're not familiar with flash fill, it is a game changer. And I've got the practice file here, flashfill.xlsx, and I'm on the flash fill sheet. If you have a look at column A, you can see that we have a list of names here, and they're arranged in a very common format. The surname or the second name comes first, and then there's a comma, and then the first name follows after a space. Now, this is a legacy from the old days when people used to write things in ledgers, and this was considered a concise way of storing names, and you'd be able to sort them then by the surname or the second name. However, in terms of data analysis, if you try to perform any kind of calculation on data that's formatted like this, it's a nightmare. And what we really need is two discrete columns, one for the first name and one for the last name. Now, traditionally, there have been several different ways of achieving this. One of the most common is to go to the Data tab and use this button here, Text to Columns. And you can do that, but since the invention of flash fill, there's no longer any need. All we have to do now is to give Excel a couple of examples. So in the first case, I'm going to click in column B, and I want to put in the first name, which is the same as mine, David. Then I'll use the Tab key to move across to the last name, and this particular David's name is Ward. Okay, so that's the first example. I'll do a second one just to give Excel a chance. David is the first name again, and this time the second name is Thompson with a P. Okay, so now that we've given Excel a couple of examples, I'm going to click in the next vacant cell. This time it's B7. I'll go to the Home tab of the ribbon. Right over at the far hand side, you can see in the editing group there's a button here for fill, and if I click the drop down to the right hand side of that, you'll see one of the options here is flash fill. Now when I click that button, look at that. How about that for absolute magic? Excel has picked up the pattern in the previous two records, and it's now filled in the entire column for us. Let's do the same with the surname in column C. Again, I'm going to click in cell C7. This time I'm going to use a keyboard shortcut, Control and E. And once again, Excel has done a sterling job there. It's detected the pattern and it's filled in the remaining cells in the column for us. Just to double check that it's got everything right. It has, in fact. It's even got the people with three names, so Janice de Jong and Kenneth Lee Chow. It's got them all right. Fantastic. The next thing is I would like to combine both of those names, and at one time we would have had to use concatenate or concat or use some other device for trying to join these two together. But now all I have to do is type in the first instance, David Ward, and hit enter and then Control and E. And how about that? Now that it's learnt, it's actually got the whole thing correct. And if we go down and have a look at the three-word names, Janice de Jong and Martin von Risch. So there we are. So that's how to use flash fill with names. Let's move on to the second example here, because these are all aircrew that work for Fantastic Flights, starting with Alan Weatherspoon. And they all have an email address, and the email address is @fantasticflights.com. So I'm going to again put in the first example for Excel to follow. So I'll click in cell G5 and I'll click in the formula bar and type Alan, A-L-A-N dot Weatherspoon at fantasticflights.com. So now that I've done the first one, if I click in the second example, hold the Control key and hit E. Wow, how about that? Now, if you have a look down here, it can't cope with some of these, okay? It's got them all right, but if we have a look, Sandra Ho Ling, it hasn't got that right. So what I have to do here is put it right, okay? So I'm going to, again, click in the formula bar, and I'm going to physically type it in, Sandra dot Ho dot Ling at fantasticflights.com, and hit enter. And now that I've done that with that example, have a look down here. Celia von Fuchs has now been filled in correctly. And if we scroll down, you see the other ones that have 3 names, Barry de Vere, they've all been filled in correctly. So it's followed suit throughout the whole list. Let's go over to the destination code now. So there's another example here. These are all real destination codes from real flights, which I found online. And what I want to do with these is just extract the flight number. So in other words, the B61, the LJ1, and so on. So I'm going to click in column J this time, J5, and I'm just going to give you an example again by typing B61, hit enter, and then Control and E. And just like that, it's now extracted all of those flight numbers for us. And the final one is a date example, and all I want to do here is just extract the year. So I've got the 29th of June 2016. I'm just going to type in 2016, hit enter, and then Control and E. And once again, Excel has done a fantastic job by pulling out all the years for us. So there we are, a fantastic time saver.
So I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to this channel. We have lots more Microsoft 365 tutorials on udemy.com, and you'll find a discount link in the description, especially for YouTube viewers. So I'll see you on the next tutorial.
Bye for now.